We gather here today to remember and to pay tribute to an absolutely remarkable human being. A man who was simple and direct, and yet embodied so many of the qualities that define greatness. He was a source of seemingly limitless energy. He was a practical, can-do man of action, and at the same time, a tireless dreamer. He was Bill Gates, Leonardo da Vinci, and Rambo, all wrapped in one. He was tough, creative, and determined. A vibrant, thunderous dynamo. Sometimes he actually seemed to be a kind of thunderbolt. And he was wise. Wise in a sometimes unconventional way, but was always moving forward. Now, you know, for a long time, I thought I had lived an interesting life. Then I met Ross Perot. Wow. You know, to understand Ross, you have to begin at the beginning. And let me offer a brief review. At the age of 7, Ross began his first job, delivering newspapers on horseback. He would go on to graduate from the Naval Academy, a 144-pound, 5'6" package of enthusiasm, commitment, and inspiration. After serving in the Navy and having had a successful run at IBM, Ross founded EDS with a $1,000 loan from the love of his life, Margot. It turned out to be such a stunning success that he sold it and founded Perot Systems. And 2 decades later after that, he sold Perot Systems for nearly $4 billion. In 1992, Ross announced on CNN's Larry King Live that he was going to enter the race for the presidency in a way that reflected what he was and what he had become. Ross kicked off that campaign with a promise. "I won't run as a Democrat or a Republican," he said, "because I refuse to sell out to anybody but the American people." Now, Ross's run for the Oval Office was, in a word, historic. He harnessed the rapidly expanding power of cable TV and took his vision and message directly into the living room across the country. You know, you don't have to know Ross personally to know that he meant every word that he said. People from all corners of the land saw an authenticity, and in truth, an authenticity they'd been searching for. They found a man who spoke as much from his heart as from his gut, someone who had a special skill at boiling down the problems we faced in honest, understandable terms. And he punctuated his solutions to those problems with his trademark honesty by telling them, "It's just that simple. It's just that simple." In Ross, Americans found the wholesome hometown values of Norman Rockwell combined with the power of Teddy Roosevelt's big stick. Somehow, by that special brew of character, determination, and spirit, he showed us the best that our country has to offer. Over the years of my friendship with Ross, I came to know and admire him, and it was an honor to be able to call him my friend. During our times together, I learned a lot about Ross. Two important things stand out. First, he loved to ski. And second, he definitely was not a Bodie Miller or Jean-Claude Killy. He never took lessons or worked on technique, but he truly loved the joy, the thrill of being on the mountain at Vail, Colorado. Through the years, I had the good fortune of skiing together with Margot and Ross, as well as whatever band of family and friends happened to assemble on the slopes at that time. The routine with Ross always seemed to be more or less the same. At the top of the lift, we would all gather around and begin to plan what run we were going to take. In the middle of that process, and before a decision had been made, Ross would announce, "I'm off." And indeed, off he would go. We'd chase after him as he zigged and zagged from one run to another, and almost without exception, he would outrun our pursuit and be gone. It took a while, but I came to realize that it wasn't that Ross didn't want to ski with us. It was simply that we were operating at normal human speed, while he was always moving at Ross speed. You know, now that I've had an opportunity to look back on his life, I've come to realize something that was key. That was living at Ross speed made it possible for him to accomplish so much. His unique, accelerated way of life gave him the time to create 2 different billion-dollar companies, to champion education broadly throughout the state of Texas, to run for the highest office in the land, and so much more besides. During the Vietnam War, Ross pressed forward with unrelenting effort and determination to ease the suffering of prisoners of war. It was pure Perot from the very beginning, and as we know it, it became his lifelong passion and commitment. Despite all of his success and all of the personal attributes that contributed to it, his defining characteristic, the one that gave him the most power and drive and purpose, didn't reside within him. It surrounded him, or rather, he surrounded himself with it. And that was his family. Ken spoke about it just a moment ago. Margot, Ross Jr. and his wife Sarah, Catherine, Carolyn, Susan, Suzanne, Nancy, and their husbands. They were his pride and joy, and supporting them became a kind of personal creed. No degree of focus or intensity was excessive. No extreme of effort was unwarranted. His loyalty was supreme and absolute. His love unqualified and profound. So, as we today send off a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a very special friend, it's a farewell, not a goodbye. Ross will remain a permanent fixture in our hearts and in our memories. His legacy will continue to inspire those who yearn for more and who can't digest the word impossible. His life will continue to speak to the hearts of those of us who cherish the values and hard work that is America. And while the shadow he cast upon this earth may gradually fade, his spirit will remain a steadfast torch, one that will continue to light up the consciousness of this great country that he loves so much. As Ross himself would say, it's just that simple. God bless you, good and generous friend. God bless.